What's up, guys? Welcome back. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at Her Picket Fence. And also check out the website if you have a moment. This week, in honor of Self Love September, we are going to be talking about how to be alone. Now, there are a lot of us out here that do not want to be alone, cannot be left alone, or dreading being uncoupled. And I am here to tell you it's totally doable and it's an absolute necessary skill in this life because you don't know what the future holds, right? So, as a loner myself, I am here to share some of my strategies for how to be alone in hopes that if you're thinking about going it alone, you feel like it's doable for you because it totally is. So let's get into it. All right. So why is it important to know how to be alone? First of all, I think a lot of times people don't want to be alone because it's a fear. When you're with someone, it's easy to distract yourself. When you are alone, you have to sit in whatever your life is, your life choices, or whatever your issues are. And a lot of people don't know how to exist as a solitary individual. They're so used to being part of a couple. And some of it's also just feeling good about yourself. When you feel good about yourself, whether you're alone or in a relationship, you're at peace. And you can see it. Did you ever see somebody, they're at a restaurant, they're sitting by the window by themselves, enjoying a glass of wine and a nice meal, and they look totally at peace? They're not looking at their phone. They're not looking terrified because they're sitting alone and everyone else around them is laughing and talking. They're not doing any of that. You know why? Because they are comfortable in solitude. I've always admired that person, and I've actually grown into more of that. I've grown into feeling good in public spaces in my solitude. And I think it's something that I've always seen as a strength because when you can be alone with yourself and be totally content, you have even more respect for the time that you spend with other people. So let's talk about being alone. When you're alone, first of all, it allows you to carve out time for you to think about your goals, about what's important to you, about the things that you want to move forward with, the things you want to leave behind, what you want to let go. When you learn how to be alone and you carve out time for you, you have the space to think about all these things. So I encourage you, if you want to learn how to exist in a peaceful solitude space, carve out time for yourself and be intentional with it. Spend time, whether you have a +1 or whatever, spend a little time that's just for you so you can focus on you and be consistent with it. Be present in it. When you're doing things on your own or when you're by yourself and you carve out that space, make sure you're not thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner or what you have to do when you get home. Just think about what's important to you. And that is key to learning how to be alone. Here's another thing that you can do to learn how to be alone. Fill that time that you spend in solitude with things that make you happy. Hobbies, new ideas for a business, anything that inspires you. Go to the movies by yourself. That's something I did. That was one of the first things I did alone. And it might sound like not a big deal for you, but for me it was because I had never done it. And I actually had the best time. You know how it actually happened? I used to want to go see things in the movies and nobody wanted to see it. And I got tired of waiting for my significant other to go with me. So I just went alone. I got that little single seat, got all my snacks, and I enjoyed the show more than anything. And I was like, okay, this is definitely what I'm going to do every single time I want to see something. And also, I started going to restaurants alone. I would see people eating by themselves, and I just thought, wow, they look totally content. That is something I definitely want to do. So I just started doing it, free of distractions, doing things that I like to do. For instance, I love to garden, so that is an activity that I do on my own, and it brings me happiness. So number 1 is carve out the time and be intentional with it. Number 2 is fill that time with things that make you happy. Now, number 3 is actually enjoy it, because when you commit to spending time alone with yourself, it becomes a strength. It becomes a growth opportunity, and your universe will expand, I promise you. And all that fear about what do I do if I don't have my significant other right next to me, it totally melts away. You will grow, I promise you. So, number one, carve out the time. Number two, fill that time with things that make you happy. And number three, actually enjoy it and be patient with the journey because you will definitely appreciate it in the long run. And with that being said, I have 3 empowerment moves. Number one, start spending time alone. Doesn't have to be a day, it can be an hour, but be intentional about it. And number two, do something alone that you have normally done with someone else. That is a great start. And number three, always show up for your peace. And solitude is part of it. Being able to be alone and, recalibrate your thinking and shift your mindset and grow and learn. That is crucial to your peace, your inner peace. So show up for your inner peace. And on that note, girl, it's time to leave when you are lost in your relationship. You know what I mean? You're always together. All his needs come first. He has no idea what's important to you anymore. You're just living to support the relationship and your goals are being left in the rearview mirror or put in the rearview mirror. Girl, it was time to leave yesterday. All right, guys, meet me right back here next week. And don't forget to hit that follow button and leave a review. And tell all your friends because the single girls just got the mic.